You wouldn't believe how much of what you're doing on a daily basis is actually an attempt to disprove a sense and a feeling about yourself that you're unworthy or inadequate or unlovable. And the thing is, this is very subtle because it's been so familiar. It's become this sort of sense of who we are. And therefore, everything almost that we do is motivated out of this insatiable void within. And the tricky part is that no matter how far you get, no matter how much you acquire, no matter all that you become, it can never be filled. And so it is this futile, fruitless effort of chasing one's tail in a hamster wheel, of trying to get somewhere arbitrary to fill a void that is unquantifiable and unqualified to begin with, because that's the thing. It's founded upon a lie. And so that which is untrue can never be disproven. It can only be seen to be untrue. It can only be realized to be an illusion. And this is the great tragedy. It is the trap of humanity right now, for it is the epitome of the human condition, is that everything that we want to gain, everyone that we want to please, everything that we want to experience in some way or another has a shadow aspect to it, which is when we are coming from misalignment and unworthiness and lacking a sense of wholeness, is going to be perpetuating that cycle and that pattern of needing more, wanting more, feeling like we're not there yet, we're not enough yet. And this is exhausting. I speak from experience. For in my early days of entrepreneurship, this was the motive that was running the show. I thought that if I could create a business that would change the world, that would impact humanity, that would make a difference, that I would then feel worthy. I'd feel like I belong. I'd feel like I'd done something meaningful, and then I'd have a sense of fulfillment, of satisfaction, of peace, of self-worth. But no matter how far I got, and I got pretty far, I made a lot of money, I helped a lot of people, I made a decent impact, yet that void remained unchanged. Yes, I got some temporary hits, but the thing is, at the end of the day, I was left with myself. And it was myself that wasn't changing, that I wasn't making a difference to. The relationship that I had with myself, which, yes, was a product of my environment, was a construct of the beliefs, the limiting beliefs that I'd picked up, the programs and the conditions that fed this small egoic self that felt disconnected, that felt separate, that felt inadequate and unworthy. And yet every time I fed that small egoic self, it seemed to grow, and it seemed to become more against me. Because every time I got more, went further, did better, I was only faced with the reality that it was still not enough. And what a painful experience that is. What great suffering do we all subject ourselves to by simply overlooking the fact that we are not choosing to love ourself, to accept ourself. And you see, to the mind, this sounds ridiculous. And it is. Because the mind will come up with all the right reasons and excuses and justifications to blame this person, to outsource your power to the authority here who's not allowing you to be you, not supporting you in doing this. You have all the right reasons to use against yourself to confirm and validate why you don't feel the way that you want to feel, the way that you're meant to feel. Connected, free, whole, happy, in love, at peace, in joy, by merely the fact of your own existence, merely by the recognition of yourself as you are, not based on what you've achieved, not based on who you've become, not based on who you've managed to please or help, but simply by the virtue of who you are. And this is the great paradox for humanity right now, and especially in these sort of non-dual spaces, is that there is nowhere to get to. There is nothing to do. Because from that place of wholeness, you are already all that you seek. You already have all that you wish to experience. And yet, also from that wholeness, you have everything to give, and you have everything to say, and you have everything to radiate into the world. And so the only obstacle to embodying that paradox is that small, limited, egoic self who feels hurt and wounded and separate and unworthy and inadequate. And all that part of you needs is your attention. Think about it like this. We all come into this world as whole, happy, free, peaceful beings, in essence. And through the experiences of our life, we're conditioned to feel certain ways, to think in certain terms, to relate to ourselves and the world in various, often distorted ways. But the primal essence of that child is wanting to be loved, wanting to be recognized, wanting to be held, wanting to be seen. And you see, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. It is so natural. It is so true. But somewhere along the way, based on our limiting beliefs and our conditioning, and the guilt that we take on, and the shame that we feel, and the resistance that we put up to ourself, and the love that we cut off to ourself, we start to rationalize why we don't deserve to be seen, why we don't deserve to be held, why we don't deserve to be loved. And this, you see, the source of this, the beginning of this, starts and ends with you. Because the more you take on that story, that people just don't understand you, that you just don't fit in, that you just cannot do it right, that you're not enough, the more you withhold that from yourself, that love, that appreciation. You hold back that joy. You dull your imagination. You cut off your creativity. You literally stifle and postpone yourself. And when you look out here, the mind will come up with all the right excuses to justify why you're right in treating yourself that way. And yet the heart knows none of that. The mind will create hell just to be right. And yet the heart always already resides in heaven. And so it's a matter of shifting your attention, lowering your awareness, so to speak, from the over-analytical, overthinking mind, dropping down into the heart, into the body of yourself, allowing yourself to feel what you're feeling first and foremost, accepting that, accepting yourself, giving yourself permission to just be as you are, for there is nothing wrong with that. This is the first place where things start to go wrong in our life, is through the judgment that there's anything wrong about who we are. anything wrong about what we're thinking, what we're feeling, that there's anything wrong out here with them, with this, with that. Anything out here that seems to be wrong is merely the projection of what's your own sense of wrong in here. And this is not a popular opinion in our world right now, but it is one of the founding principles of the work that I do with the people that I work with, is to take radical responsibility for everything in your experience. To be radically in ownership over everything in your reality, for it is not separate from you. In fact, it is reflecting back to you something within you that wants to be embraced, wants to be accepted, and wants to be loved. And the thing is, the more you do this, the more free you feel. Have you ever been walking down the road or sitting in a cafe or somewhere in public, feeling like you can't help but just entertain these negative thoughts, thinking that you just would wish this person would speak more quietly, or this dog would just stop barking, or this music would just be different, or whether the world would just change? The thing is, though, all of that is already coming out of your own sense of lacking love. The lack of the perception of seeing all things as love. The withholding of love from being shared freely with others. The lack of love towards yourself to just be here now, in acceptance, in the embrace, in the forgiveness of all that is, which is actually the key, the gateway to seeing life as it is, in its brilliance, in its perfection, in its bliss, in the love that it truly is, right here, right now. For underneath the surface of everything that you perceive and believe, all the labels, all the definitions, all the criticisms, and all the judgments that you're putting up as the resistance within your own field of experience, are the weapons that you're using against yourself to separate yourself from life, from others, from the world, and therefore validating and reinforcing the separation within the story of yourself. You need not justify why you feel what you feel. You need only feel it and accept it and allow yourself to be with it. And if you can really feel into all that you're feeling, not resist it, not repress it, not suppress it, not try to change it or manipulate it, but simply allow it to flow, the good, the bad, the ugly, what I think you will find is that in truth, in essence, it is all a kind of bliss. And perhaps the artists of our world, the musicians of our world, the poets of our world know this better than anyone, is that these sweet sensations, these beautiful emotions in the spectrum of feeling, which is the human experience, gives rise to inspired creations. And I don't only mean the music and the art forms that are created. I mean every single moment, which is the masterpiece of your life and yourself unfolding. That is your creation. You are your greatest creation. The greatest art form that you will ever create is your own life. And everything, every experience, and every other that it includes, all your own creation. And it starts with self-love, self-acceptance. For when you truly, deeply, boldly, courageously, unconditionally, unapologetically love yourself, there is no room for judgment. And even the you that's judging yourself can be loved and accepted, for it is a product of your environment, which has been trained to use your mind against yourself. But the heart of your heart, the heart of your true self, is impervious to all these weapons of the mind. And so again, all you need is to bring yourself down into your essence, your heart, the space that sees clearly without judgment. Just allow yourself to relax, observe, note, but don't label, don't define, don't judge. Just see it as it is. Feel it as it comes. Be with it. And notice the shift that happens in your direct experience right here, right now. And then all the things that you needed to achieve, where you needed to get to, all those people that you needed to please, everything that you needed to do to disprove the world and yourself from feeling unworthy. Where did it all go? When you're in your heart, when you are here and now, when you accept yourself as you are, where is there need or should or ought to do anything to get anywhere? And yet, from this space of well-being and wholeness and completion and perfect, timeless, unconditional love, you are unlimited in your creativity. You are unbounded in your potentiality to create anything that you desire, whether it is a loving relationship, a peaceful moment, a smile to a stranger, a work of art, an incredibly successful business that serves the world. All of it is pure and good when it comes from the purity and the goodness of your true, whole self. And that is an infinite worth. And that is who you always already are. You simply need only choose to see it.